Hi, I'm Pushkar Yadav from Batch E1 Group 2, and today we are doing a group discussion on the topic privatization will lead to less corruption. I think privatization will lead to less corruption. It also depends on the mindset, attitude of people. I think partial privatization will be better. When you see some government sectors and some government employees work with slower and less efficiency and take bribes to do some work, but when coming to private sector, they do work efficiently, effectively, and also in less time without any corruption. So government should identify that corrupted sectors and privatize them. So I think partial privatization could be better. Without privatization also, the government can increase efficiency by creating accountability and transparency in it, and also by waging some fine on employees when the work gets delayed.
Hello everyone, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Rahul Kumawat from section E1, part B. And yes, I agree with Pushkar's point. Because in government jobs, many people depend on one government servant so that they can do their work fast and give bribe to government. We often see corruption in the form of giving bribes to bureaucrats, issuing recruitment form in some consideration, and then cancelling those exams without refund. Giving bribes to government officials to get the work done who deliberately delays the work. Even bribes to get the government job too will be under control to a great extent. There will also be a fear among the employees to get fired if caught red-handed. In my opinion, it is true that privatization will lead to less corruption in comparison to the government sector because the job of employees in private sector is not secured and they know very well if they would not provide the result to organization which will contribute to growth or of if they will get fired or retrenched which will lead to less corruption in the private sector. But on the other side, it is obvious that it depends on the person mindset to get bribe or not. But if we talk about the ratio, it's 18-20. Only 20% were corrupt in private sector, but there are 80% in the government sector, which turned me to tell that privatization will lead to less corruption. But it is also the mind that 100% privatization is not beneficial because every private organization work for profit, but government organization work for country. Thank you. My name is Rahul Kumawat.
Hi everyone, I am Rajat Sharma. I would also like to add some more points of the discussion of our topic. Will privatization lead to less corruption? Through privatization, if one form of corruption is rooted out, then other form of corruption is born. For example, private hospitals, school, colleges, railway, and so on will definitely charge high fees to earn a profit because privatization is always a profit oriented, and then there might be the monopoly, and monopoly is always a sign of danger. Will that not counted under corruption? Now why no? Because corruption has many forms and only particular type of corruption can be rooted out through privatization mentioned as above. In democratic government, the public can question the government for several for services provided by public sector, and the government is bound to show the clear picture. However, private sector organizers are not bounded by any such law, and this is a lack of transparency. And also, in privatization, a lot of confusion will arise due to numerous choice in various sectors, as there are more and more options being added to the market every day during privatization for same product and same services at different price. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Priyanshu Kumawat. Employees of private companies are given high salaries, so they are much more motivated to work and less interested in corruption. Our country's GDP increase from the taxes paid by private companies. Private companies have competitive spirit, so they offer more features to public. Private institutions take more care to keep them clean and to provide more faculties. Well, in India, we can't blame the bureaucrats, government officials, or politicians, businessmen, tax evaders for the corruption. Somewhere we all are corrupt, somewhere we all have also given or taken bribes. Somewhere we are all to try to evade taxes. If we want corrupt-free India, then we need to make ourselves corrupt-free first.
Hello everyone, myself Raghvendar Singh, and I also want to add some points. Like privatization is the process of transferring ownership of a business, enterprise, agency, or public service from the public sector to the government sector, to the private sector. So you all have mentioned some points in the favor of it, but I also want to add some point in against of it. There is no guarantee that privatization will lead to less corruption, because corruption does exist in the private companies too. And if the privatization will be done, then the cost of products increase due to privatization, because private companies want to earn the profit, and they want to earn profit by, and also they take, if we take private petrol bunks, and even though they keep petrol bunks clean, but they charge high prices uh, from the government. And in the conclusion, I would like to add that the corruption does not depend on whether it's private or government. It is completely depends on individual's attitude. But by privatization, we can reduce corruption up to some extent. Thank you.
Okay, Raghvendra. Corruption comes from both government sector or private one. If a country is completely privatized, then it may lead to some major problems. So privatization is just for the sake of stakeholders. Just imagine if education or transportation or medical system is completely privatized, then we will face some more new problems, especially financial problems. Corruption is not only floated on government sector, but also private ones. So what's my opinion? First, we should make a step against the evil by stopping giving and receiving bribes at any cost. No one comes to change the society. We are young rebels, can do magic and make country corruption free. Okay.
Yes, I think Pushkar is right. We are the future of country, and we must understand that it depends on us. If we want to make this country corruption free, we can do this.
Hi everyone, my name is Rohit Pankaj. According to me, privatization will lead to less corruption because in public sector the work for political purpose rather than economic purpose. The manager is more accountable to employer or shareholder and to the consumer. In private sector, good and serious service is more efficient than public, which result in output, more profit and less corruption. In private industry or companies have more profit, that why they can invest more and get profit. Privatization will ink choice to the consumer and also lead to economic growth, which ink GDP. If employer gets better salary, then chance of involving decreases.
Yes, thank you, Rohit, for your views. Hello, everyone. My name is Punit Yadav. I'm saying that privatization will create more corruption, more laws, and lots economic problem. And basically, the poorer section will get more affected. India should actually remove privatization and make new rules. A country can develop only by equality concept. Rules should be made like maximum property a person can have. All the companies should be taken over by the government, and each and every one in this country should be the government employee. Everyone should be paid salary and be earning more than salary. Should be punished, and there should be rules for a student, and even daily workers should also be taken over by the government by paying them salary too. Everyone should work according to the ages and gender, and rules should be made accordingly. Profit earning from exports of or selling products, etc., should be used for making new technology. Weapons and the barrier of rich and poor should be removed so that no one dies out of starvation. And children of rich as well poor could go to same schools, as everything will be governmentalized, and profit earned can also be used for improving infrastructure facilities, but rules should be made very strict. And if everything will get governmentalized, then the crime rate will get decreased. But people with more education and skills and experience should be given better facilities like entertainment, etc. The proper law should be made, and even breaking rules by any minister should be punished so that the next one fears to do mistakes. All problems will actually solve after making everything equal. Also, rules for children giving birth is also very important to make in this country.
I agree with Punit's point, but the privatization is also has many advantages. Like the first one I want to say is increased efficiency. The model of working of private sector is always performance oriented. Hence, privatization usually leads to higher efficiency of professionals as well as the company as a whole. And second is political independence. A lot of times, the public sector has to mend its ways of working because of political interference, which may at times dissuade companies from making decisions that are profit oriented. However, a private limited company never lets political factor affect its performance and increase in competition. The privatization will increase the competitiveness in the market, allowing all the companies to enhance their efficiency, which in turn will benefit both the consumer and the economy. And at last, I would like to add that after by the privatization, government will earn a lot of money, which will also be used in their creating new jobs or creating new monuments and other development of the country. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Ritik Ashiwal. It is practically a very feasible solution of reducing corruption to the lower level. Let's not talk about privatization, PPP or other things such as motives of the private organization. It is a different topic to debate. We are here to discuss the impact of privatization on corruption, and I feel most of the people are debating from the topic. According to me, privatization will enough reduce the corruption in India. We all are aware of the situation in government of office like PWD, education department, police station, hospitals, RTO, etc. The situation is so worse that nothing can be done in formal ways and according to the procedure, and we have to bribe agents, officers, etc. No worse can be done without bribing. Your file cannot move the even one level higher if you want pay bribe. The situation is pathetic. Every law, rule, regulation, the machinery of government have failed to remove corruption because it is itself corrupt. Particularly, let's analyze the situation of privatization firms. For example, ICICI Bank, you go there with a problem, it will be debated within a minute. On the other hand, see the work of nationalization bank. The USA and other developed economies have used the privatization as a tool to eradicate corruption and optimize their work culture. We are very much aware of this. These economies are successful in place a well settled satellite and corruption free system will keeping their citizen on security. Hence it is that prove privatization well less of corruption.
Hi everyone, I am Radheshyam Janwa. We are missing the point here. The private sector is different from the government sector because of the rule implement in the firm. For suppose in government sector we have the job guarantee. There is no much pressure to fulfill object. But in private sector, every person, irrespective of their gender, assigned with objective. So they work to fulfill them. So if we implement some change in rules, the government sector can also see corruption less in environmental, as losing the business for the private, not healthy solution for this.
Hey everyone,
Thank you.
I Rishabh and I am talking about some of cons of privatization, less safety. Private companies are driven by the generation of profit alone, and this would result in compromising the safety of public. Rise in prices, insanitized services will no longer will be available with different facilities. Price will soar, which will be difficult for the poor. Job cutoff, under loss or debt. Private companies cut off job like none other, which will lead to rise in unemployment in the long run. Make the poor poorer and the richer richer. This is the one of the worst disadvantage of privatization from my side. Thank you.
I would like to add some point in there. I have seen very scams when we do privatization to the government officials. There, I have seen like 2011, there was a scam. In 1990, there was also one scam that happened when there happened a privatization. So I think there is a one side or consequences. Thank
So we
you.
can't defy the fact that privatization leads to less corruption, statically proven, but it depends more on individual's perspective. Corruption does not depend on whether it's private or government. It completely depends on one's attitude towards his nation and loyalty towards his service. We all need to think upon our parts as a whole to control corruption. Our combined efforts will surely make a little difference, and we need to change the world we want to see in the world. Thank you everyone for listening to this group discussion.